After thousands of hours building voice agents, I've developed a method for creating adaptive, self-improving agents. In this video, I'll break down step by step my building process so you can start creating advanced voice agents in Retell AI. If you're new to the channel, my name is Lenny Cowens, and alongside my partner Terrell, we've been building and selling voice AI solutions through our AI agency 61B for the past 12 months. Here's the end result of the voice agent we'll be building.
Hello, thank you for calling Safe Roofing. This is Katie speaking. I see that during your last call, you scheduled a roof repair quote for November 27th at 2 p.m. after noticing a small leak in your attic. You also sent us additional information about the issue via email. How can I assist you today, Len?
So, how did you know to call me by Len? Only my friends know that.
Oh, that's a great question, Len. We keep notes from our previous conversations to make sure we provide a more personalized experience for our customers.
Let's start by breaking down the voice agent's logic chain. The voice agent logic chain, or what we like to call the call flow structure, just illustrates the voice agent's abilities. So this voice agent's use case is for a roofing business, and what it essentially does is take inbound calls, answer general questions, and it also has the ability to book appointments. So let's break down the call flow structure. Once the business receives a call from a customer, the inbound voice assistant is triggered. Now, immediately when it's triggered, it does search their CRM to see if the caller is a returning caller. If they are a returning caller, it extracts all the caller information, including their call history. Now, that comes into play in a big way later on in this video, so stay tuned for that. As far as the greeting message, that's the first thing that the voice assistant will say, and this voice assistant will be programmed to speak first. From there, it will extract the customer's reason for calling. And once they understand the reason for calling, if it's a general inquiry, they'll answer that question and move on to try and end the call if they have no more questions or have no more needs. Now, if they have a need that requires to schedule an appointment, it goes down the path to the left here. And if they're a returning customer, then we don't need to collect any of that information as far as the caller information to book the appointment. So we'll just move on to directly collect the preferred appointment date and time. If they aren't a returning customer, then we do need to collect that caller information along with the preferred appointment date and time. And then from there, we move on to book the appointment. After we book the appointment, we all into the quality assurance, which would already have been reached if it was a general inquiry. But at this stage, we just ask the caller if they need any more assistance. And if not, the voice assistant will end the call. Now, a couple things do happen post call, and this is where the magic happens. One of the things is the call dashboard is updated, and the other is the CRM is updated. And more specifically, the caller history and preferences are updated. So this is where the magic happens with the voice assistant being able to adapt and self-improve in real time, because every conversation it has with the customer adds to that caller history, adds to the caller preferences to improve its performance over time. Let's hop over to Retell and break down the voice agent. We'll start by breaking down the prompt. Now, we do have a video coming out within the week that breaks down our prompt engineering framework, so stay tuned for that. And I'll stay pretty high level as far as our overview and breakdown of the prompt here. But we like to break our prompt engineering process down into three main categories, one being the persona, two being the rules to follow, and three being the steps. And guys, don't worry, you can access this prompt template in our Skool community by clicking the link in the description. And if you're a voice AI agency owner and you're serious about making money building and selling voice agents, Voice AI Accelerator might be for you. It's a free community for agency owners to share their journeys on acquiring customers and building great voice AI solutions. So link in description if you want to go ahead and check this out. And hopefully I'll see you there. When it comes to this voice agent, we actually did also include a knowledge base inside of the prompt. You can include one externally, but for this one, we just included it inside the prompt, and that includes a business overview, some business information, along with the services offered. Now, when it comes to the dynamic information, we do include some caller information as well. Remember, we do try and see if this caller is a returning customer, and if they are, then we extract their information from the CRM and input it directly into this field here. All right, so those fields are first name, last name, phone number, email address, and then the caller history. The current date and time is actually a dynamic variable that Retell provides to us. So that's just something that's automatic. And that date and time is in American Los Angeles time zone or West Coast. So keep that in mind. If you do need to adjust the time zone to yours, you can add something extra to this, to the back of it, something along the lines of, please convert this to this time zone, X time zone when using in conversation. So that'll be appropriate for that. Now let's start from the top, looking at the persona. Our persona is broken down into three categories, and the role, skills, and objectives. And the role of the assistant is it's an expert receptionist for a roofing business called Safe Roofing, and its name is Katie. When it comes to its skills, it does have a set of skills specifically built for a receptionist for a roofing company in accurate data collection, polite and clear communication, and proficient knowledge of roofing services, also appointment scheduling processes. The objective is pretty straightforward, but we like to link it directly to the rules and the steps to eliminate confusion when it comes to the logic for the voice agent. We've already broken down the knowledge base, so we'll continue on from here. When it comes to the rules, we have 4 main rules, and the 4th is the one to really remember. Starting with number 1 in conversational tone, we want to maintain a conversational tone that's easy to understand at a high school level. Continuing with number 2 with empathy, we want to show empathy and understanding, especially when callers are dealing with roofing issues that may cause stress or inconvenience, because these individuals will be calling not under good circumstances in most cases. So we want to take into account those aspects. And number 3, clarity. Ensure all information provided is clear and concise, avoiding technical jargon. We just want it to be simple and clear, basic, simple as that. And lastly, always analyze and apply the caller history provided in the caller information section of the knowledge base when handling calls with customers to further personalize and improve performance. So this rule here directly impacts how this voice assistant adapts and self-improves on this call based off of the caller history. When it comes to the steps to follow, we pretty much went over that in the call flow diagram, but from a high level, if they are a returning caller and they need to book an appointment, we'll collect that appointment information and go ahead and book that and then end with the caller satisfaction. For steps for new customers, we'll go ahead and collect that customer information and the same thing. If there's a general question, we'll answer that. And if they need to book an appointment, we'll go through that process as well. For our welcome message, we do want this to be a dynamic beginning message. Why? Because we're going to be basing this whole conversation based off of their preferences. So based off of their preferences, if they might like a certain type of intro, we want it to be able to handle that intro. And that's why we need it to be dynamic based on what should be the best and most appropriate intro for this specific caller. Now, when we're talking about the LLM, we like to go with GPT-4o, and at GPT-4o, it ends up being 13 cents a minute, regardless of how large the prompt is. The settings for the LLM, we just keep it default, 0 for the LLM temperature, and we keep disabled when it comes to the structured output. For the voice, we like to go with Katie. This is an 11 Labs voice. And then for the 11 Labs model, we go with 11 Labs Turbo V2. We like to just stick with V2. 2.5 is the newer model, but it does have some issues here and there. So V2 is the most dependable. As far as voice speed, we like to keep it at 1. Voice temperature, 0.9. Voice volume, 1.4. All right, we're going to go ahead and save. And these settings do vary from voice to voice, so take that into account. For the language, we're going to pick English because that's what we need. But if you do want another language, make sure to change that voice setting for 11 Labs to that 11 Labs multilingual, because that is the best setting for different languages other than English. For the functions, we have a couple functions here as well. End of call, which is just basic, hey, this function ends the call. And then booking appointment. This is for, of course, if they need to book some type of service appointment, whether it be a quote or just a roofing repair. And simply name of the function is the book appointment. The description, of course, this books appointments. And then when it comes to the extract information that we need on the call, we do need to extract and collect the appointment date and time here, the appointment reason, their address, their first name, email address, and then we do want to require all those fields as well, because we do need those to book the appointment. We do not need to select the speak during execution. You can if you'd like, but for this example, we're not going to use it. And then speak after execution, we do have checked. Lastly, the URL for the webhook. We will go over that make automation as well. And again, a template will be available in our Skool community. So click the link in the description to get that free template. But yes, the webhook will be from Make, and the automation that we make through Make will create that webhook, and this is where that webhook goes. Moving on to the knowledge base. We've already went over, we don't have an external one, but we put it inside of the prompt. So for speech settings, we don't want any background sound. Responsiveness, we're going to keep at 1. Interrupt sensitivity, 0.8. We're not going to enable back channeling. There's no necessary need for this use case for boosted keywords. It's pretty straightforward, but this is where you can use specific words. For instance, if it's a dental office, you can put specific services that they offer that aren't regularly picked up by a transcript to expand its vocabulary. We do want to enable speech normalization as well as disable transcript formatting. This will really help improve the voice agent's performance as far as performing like an actual human in conversation. For the reminder message frequency, we're going to go 7 seconds and 3 times max. And that's just after a certain period of time. If there's no response, it will say, hey, are you still there? Something along the lines of that. And for pronunciation, this is really important if you have words that are kind of spelled not how they sound. And this is how you really get the voice assistant to pronounce them properly. So you can add that there as well. For the call settings, we're going to do the voicemail detection. We don't need that, so we're going to keep that disabled. And then the end of call silence, we're going to actually decrease this to 4 minutes, or no, we'll do 5.7 minutes. And then max call duration, we just want to we'll make it 10 minutes here, or 11.6. We'll just save that. And this is where the magic happens in the post-call analysis. So we know we need to collect the caller information if they're a new caller, and that includes the first name. All right, this is the caller's first name. The address, all right, email address, phone number, and last name. And then the key variable that we need to collect is the caller history update. So what does that entail? This is the detailed call summary of what occurred on the call and any preferences the caller has for future conversations. This is where the magic happens. The name for it is straight up right there, caller history update. And when it comes to the format example, we have a format example that is perfectly for what we've designed it to be inputted, where we've designed it to input it, I should say, right here in this field. So let's continue on. For security settings, we're going to keep it disabled, and we don't need fallback voice ID either. And then moving on, the webhook settings. This is where we put the webhook for the dynamic variables, because this is an inbound use case, and then also for the end of call report. So at the end of each call, again, this is where the magic happens. The call history update gets sent via this end of call report webhook, or this agent level webhook, to our make automation. And that's where it combines any call past history with what happened on the current call that just ended, and then combines that for the next call to be pulled, extracted, and inserted into that prompt for that specific customer. So some of this automation is from a past video where we created the most dependable appointment booking voice agent. But when it comes to this voice agent built on Retell, let's go ahead and break this down. It all starts here with the webhook. And this webhook here is what we use and post in the agent level webhook, as well as for the function call, appointment booking, and then again for the inbound webhook URL. So we've optimized the scenario in Make to be able to handle all 3 situations. So the first situation are those dynamic variables. So when the voice assistant is triggered via an inbound call, a webhook message is sent to this automation, and then it follows this first path. The first step is an OpenAI step. And in this step, it's all about formatting the number of the caller, because that's going to be important in the second step for this flow, which is actually trying to match that number with someone who is a current customer in that CRM. So for this, it's just basically a prompt and a format just saying, hey, you're an expert transcript information scraper. Please format the number provided in context to what you see in example, based off of the input and output seen there. So as you see, this is the input phone number. That is the format we will see via that webhook message that we've received. And this is the output format that we need to search on the next step, that is Airtable. When it comes to this Airtable step, this is all about searching the records for that customer, if they are a customer in our records or our CRM. And if they are, we want to extract all of this information. All right, that's phone number, first name, last name, email address, and caller history. This is the formula to do so. And this is, hey, if the phone number is matching the result from this step, then true, then we want to extract all of these. And we only want to extract one. So there shouldn't be duplicates in our CRM. So that's something to take into note. But you will need to create an Airtable account and link your Airtable to this Airtable step in Make. So take that into account. And then lastly, once we extract those variables, if they are there and that caller who's calling in matches the phone number in our CRM, those variables are inserted and sent back to the voice assistant to be inserted into the prompt. So that's, again, as you see here, first name, last name, phone number, email address, and caller preferences. You will need to input your bearer token for this step. And you can find that in Retell by simply going to your API keys and copying your API key. So after you do that, you're good to go here. You press OK. And then for the Airtable, what does this look like? Let's quickly review. This is the CRM. So as you see here, this is my information, because when we do trigger the toll, we do want it to extract my information. So my phone number, my first name, last name, and as you see here, lastly, the caller history. And that is the most important aspect to really have this thing be able to adapt and self-improve from call to call. If the caller is looking to book an appointment, they'll get on this middle path here. And the first step here is to get a start and end time for their preferred date. Now, why is this important? It's important for the next step because we need to start an end date to be able to search and extract what availabilities that are on the calendar. That is what this is all about. And one thing to note, you do need to take into account, this is for American Los Angeles time zone. So as you see -7 here, this is before daylight savings. So it will be -8 now, but the AI will be able to take that into account. So no worries there, but keep that in mind with a lot of these steps. They are for West Coast or American Los Angeles time zone. The next step is an HTTP request to where we're calling out to cal.com to get available slots based off that preferred appointment date and time. And again, you will need to put in your API key from cal.com, and you can find that by coming to cal.com, coming down to settings, and then coming down to API keys, and then creating an API key. Once you create it and save that information somewhere safe, you're able to come back to make, and then you fill it in here. You will also need to fill in your event type ID for cal.com. And where do you find your event type ID? Well, come to cal.com, and you go to your events. And when you open up one of your events, in the URL after event-types /, you'll see 6 digits and then a question mark. Those 6 digits before the question mark and in between that / are your event type ID. So you'll want to copy that, paste that into this event type ID field, and you'll be good to go. As far as everything else, we're just inserting the start time and end time that we extracted from the previous step. Now, in this step, once we've retrieved the open slots, we need to format them in a way that's easy for us to be able to scrape and match to see if the slot that the customer prefers is available. So that's what this step is all about. And again, you got to take into account this is American Los Angeles time zone. All right. So when you're looking at these steps via our template that you can download in the free Skool community, link in description, make sure to account for the OpenAI steps when it comes to the time zone. So this is an example of what we get returned from cal.com in the available slots, and we need it formatted in this format so that it's just easier for the LLM model in the next step to be able to match up what we need it to match up based off of the preferred date and time of the customer. And in this step, we do exactly that. We provide OpenAI with the results of the available slots, plus the requested appointment time and date. And we ask it, hey, does it match one of the appointment slots? And if yes, the output will be available. And if not, it will be not available. This is super important because based off of the response here, this takes one of 2 paths. One path is successful and it is available. And that's where we just come back to an OpenAI step to format the preferred date and time to UTC, because that's the format that's necessary for the next cal.com step. And then we move on and actually book the appointment. So you will need to, again, fill in your API key for cal.com. And then you will need to also fill in, again, your event type ID here, as well as your time zone. So for example, my time zone would be America /Los_Angeles. Okay. So that is an example of mine. But for you guys will have your own, whether it be America, Chicago, or America, New York, whatever it might be. And then finally, after it's booked, it sends back the message booked. So the voice agent knows that that is good to go and it can continue on in the steps necessary for that conversation. Now, if this step says not available, it goes down the path below And in this OpenAI step, it's all about trying to see if any slots are even available on the date that they prefer. If so, then it will pull 3 other slots that are available for the follow-up step, in which the voice agent receives a message saying, hey, the available or the preferred date and time they wanted isn't available, but here are 3 other alternative times that are. So it gives those on the call as alternative times so they can book. Now, if there are no available slots that day as alternatives, it will tag it as none or not available again, I believe. Yep, none available. And it will go down the below path. And the message will say, no appointment times are available on this day. Please collect another day and time to schedule an appointment. So that's if they need to book an appointment. And lastly, this is where all the magic happens. So the first thing we need to do is format the number again to be able to create a record in Airtable. And the record we're creating is for the call dashboard. Now in Airtable, you also do want a call dashboard to be able to review each call's outcome. And for our call dashboard, we're going to have the date and time, the from number, the call summary, transcript, and call recording. Airtable is free, so you can just create an account and be able to create simple tables similar to this that have each of these different fields and copy and paste your API and copy and paste these variables straight into these fields via the make automation that we have here. All right, everything's provided for you guys, so it's very simple to just plug and play as far as what we've provided for you in our Skool community. So date and time will be updated, from number, call summary, transcript, and call recording. Now, you might notice the call history update is not here. It is not here, and it's not going to be there because it happens later on in one of these steps. But what we do need to do is first search the records based off of the phone number that we formatted to find what is the current call history of the customer that we just had a conversation with. And after we find that call history, if they have one, and that's only if they are a returning customer. If they're a new customer, there won't be any call history. And it all feeds into this OpenAI step to where we combine the previous or current caller history with the call history that just occurred on this call with the customer. So if they are a returning customer, then on the previous stage, we extract that call history for this step. And how does this all fit together? Well, we have the current date formatted via make, and the format we use is now, and then the format of ISO, including converting it to our time zone, which is American Los Angeles. So you can convert that however you like to your own time zone. For the call summary, we're not going to use just the base call summary that Retell provides us. This is where we're going to plug in the call history update that we formatted in the post-call analysis. All right. From there, we now extract, if available, the previous preference history from Airtable from that CRM. Here we have an example of what might be an input and what we want as the output. And then we describe exactly what this thing needs to do. So you're an expert transcript analyzer using the information provided in context. Update the call history by incorporating the latest call summary and current date and time. The output should follow the same format as shown in the example, including all call details and dates. If a previous call history is provided, add the new call summary to the end of the previous call history. If no previous call history is provided, create a new entry using only the current call summary and date and time. Ensure the final output includes all call summaries and it is formatted as shown in the example, regardless of the number of calls. So that's where all the magic happens as far as combining the current calls history or the call summary that in the post-call analysis is labeled call history update and the past call history from this customer if they are a returning customer. In this final step, we just update the call history in Airtable. So the caller history is updated based off of the results in this step. So if it's just the start of a new one, then that's the first input for that customer as far as their CRM call history. And if they're returning, then it just updates based off of their past and updates the new call that just occurred with what was already there in the old caller history. Now that we've gone over the voice agent and the make automation, let's go ahead and give this voice agent a call and test it out. But first, let's quickly review the current call history. And for this customer, who is me, it is a couple things. One is a prior repair that they quoted 3,000 at that we went ahead and wanted to push forward with. Another one was just concluding and saying, hey, they did great work. The more recent one is for an attic repair from a leak. And continuing on, there's a couple things that we've mentioned here in a follow-up email to send more information about that leak, as well as the preferences. And we like to hear a quick summary of the most recent call at the beginning of each call. And then also, we prefer the name Lynn. All right, that is our nickname, as opposed to Lenny, which will be inserted into the prompt. All right, so this is essentially a big override of, for one, how it applies to my name, and then two, how it dynamically starts the call. So let's try it out.
Hello, thank you for calling Safe Roofing. This is Katie speaking. I see that during your last call, you scheduled a roof repair quote for November 27th at 2 p.m. after noticing a small leak in your attic. You also sent us additional information about the issue via email. How can I assist you today, Len?
So how did you know to call me by Len? Only my friends know that.
Oh, that's a great question, Len. We keep notes from our previous conversations to make sure we provide a more personalized experience for our customers. During one of your earlier calls, you mentioned that you prefer to be called Len, so I made sure to remember that for you. It's all about making things as comfortable and friendly as possible.
Fantastic. Wow, that's fantastic. So yeah, I actually was curious about, from 2022, I called you guys about a roof repair. What was that total that you guys quoted me and we did that for? I just need it for some tax reasons.
Of course, Len. Back in 2022, we quoted you $30,000 for a full roof repair, and the work was completed as scheduled. If you need any additional details or documentation for your tax purposes, feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to assist. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Yeah, actually, I need to set another appointment. I know I have a leak, but I just think I need a new roof again. So let's just schedule a new roof repair, please.
Got it, Len. Let's get that scheduled for you. Could you let me know your preferred date and time for the appointment? Our office hours are Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m.
Okay,
to 6
okay.
p.m.
Let's do next week Thursday at 2:30.
All right, Len. Let me confirm. You're looking to schedule a new roof repair appointment for next Thursday, November 28th at 2:30 p.m. Does that sound good?
Exactly.
Your appointment for a new roof repair has been successfully scheduled for Thursday, November 28th at 2:30 p.m. Is there anything else I can assist you with, Len?
No, that's it. I appreciate it. Thanks. Bye. So there we go. Perfect. It knew my past history from 2022, which was in the first call we would have had with this voice assistant for this customer was. It knew my nickname, which I told her on a previous call. Hey, I like Lynn above Lenny. Lynn's my nickname. And it gave me a quick overview of our previous call, as I put as one of my preferences in another call we had. So all of these things worked flawlessly. There are some things we can improve when it comes to the silence of actually booking the appointment by adding some messages in between to break that silence up. But overall, when it comes to a voice agent that adapts call by call per a customer and improves automatically, this is exactly what this voice agent does and exactly how this building process allows you to do that. Well, that's it for today. And if you found this video valuable, please hit that like button. It really helps us reach a wider audience. If you want to see more content on voice AI, make sure to smash that subscribe button along with that notification bell to never miss another one of our videos. We'll catch you next time. Peace.